So this is the spoilers discussion, and so basically the movie starts in space. There's a ship. It has a symbiote on it, clearly,
Three
because
symbiotes.
it crashes. Yeah, 3 symbiotes.
That's why. Okay,
where it came from.
let's
It
name them.
crashes.
There was one symbiote
was Venom.
One was Venom, the black one.
Yeah.
One is Riot, who is eventually attached to Drake, the villain of the movie.
It's the grayish black one.
And I guess there might have been 3, but there might have been more than 3.
There was a bunch.
The 3 that I remember, there's that one, and then there's the third one, which is Carnage, which you find out. We can start with that now. The end credit scene, you see Woody Harrelson, and he has red hair, which is I guess comic book accurate.
Yeah,
and
it's symbolic of.
And he says, "When I get out of here, there's going to be carnage." And I guess I thought he already had the symbiote in him, but if he did, then he wouldn't be in prison.
Yeah, he would have broke out.
But anyway, that was big. That was the big spoiler, really. Other than that, there's obviously when Eddie's first interacting with Venom, he's obviously confused in what's going on, and eventually, as it goes on, they kind of both grow to each other. Like, 'cause Venom, when he first is in him, he's talking how he's just gonna he's gonna die and he's gonna kill him and stuff. And as Venom realizes that Eddie's kind of a loser type guy, like not really a loser, but like things are going bad for him, and like apparently Venom on his planet is a loser in his kind of scenario.
Maybe he's the lesser developed symbiote because he doesn't have like the weapons.
He's not as developed, and really Venom kind of realizes that Eddie's just like they're really similar in a way, and like they're attached, and that's why at the end when he says what brought you back, and it was him. I actually bought that moment. Like people may think that's a bad moment or doesn't make any sense. I actually bought into that moment.
Yeah.
There's enough evidence as why I would buy into it. And then honestly, when you think Venom dies at the end when he says goodbye, Eddie, I was actually kind of getting upset.
Yeah,
like,
I was sad.
I was gonna be mad. Like I was thinking, like I'm gonna
sad.
get this movie a 1 if they kill Venom off like this because you make the audience grow attached to the whole time and he just dies. So I was happy. I was actually happy that he was still alive.
You know, I'll definitely say that the designs, like Venom looks amazing.
Did Venom look cool?
Riot looked awesome because there's a scene where Drake turns into the symbiote Riot, and it looks awesome. Like I really like the designs of these, and I don't know why people complain about the CGI that much because they look really cool to me. But and there's some spots that are a little iffy, but in the fights that were good, like when Venom's taking on Riot, I mean, I was really into the fight, and I was really attached, and I really liked those fights, and I really was able to invest myself. And that's why the fights were good. There were sometimes the action was a little too close to me, but
they're not like they're not in the top half of the best fights in superhero movies in these universes, but they're pretty good. I think they're not bad. I think there's 3 action sequences. There's the one where he's in his apartment and he's first using his powers. And the second one's the thing you see in the trailers, the motorcycle chase, which is really cool. A lot of cars going over hills there.
Yeah, no, and I did like how it was kind of Venom. They had to slowly, they had to start doing stuff before it could slowly start creeping up on him, and like it slowly got to where he could become fully Venom. I liked how it was more of a progression. And then, they really built into that pretty well. Then there's a scene where he eating everything in the restaurant.
Well, that was funny. There was also the scene where they're in the building, and he tells him to jump out the window. He uses the elevator, but then after that scene when he's I think you see in the trailer or movie clip where all the dots are on his chest. He's like, "Don't make me do this." That scene where he catches the bullets and like bites him was really cool, and the smoke and stuff.
Yeah.
That was really good. And then obviously the end fight scenes between him and Riot. I was thinking personally what they were gonna do is they would have Eddie and Drake both kind of hanging on to something because they were kind of fighting really high off the ground, and they both would need someone to save him. And Riot didn't really care about Drake, and Riot would go onto the ship by himself, and then Venom saves Eddie. I was thinking they may do something like that, but I mean obviously I was just thinking that was because there was a moment where they were ripping each other apart, and you kind of see Riot rips Venom off of Eddie, and Eddie puts his arm out to kind of save Venom, which is kind of cool. That was pretty cool.
I definitely liked that because he rips the symbiote off and Venom, and it can't do anything itself, so he was going out to fight for him. That's why I was able to invest myself in a piece of CGI. It's really it was good.
Like I cared about Venom. There was a scene where Riot basically was forming from all three of them: Venom, Drake,
Yeah,
and
that was
Eddie.
weird.
You see that? He was like becoming all of them, and luckily he would see how big he was when he did that.
Yeah, that
Like,
was weird.
I think that's what happened. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it had to. I mean, that was kind of weird. Then the sound.
It's just a pretty
got
cool.
apart, but...
It's a pretty. I know Angry Joe didn't. Or Joe didn't like it when in the trailer when you saw him ripping it apart. But I thought that was a pretty cool scene where Eddie and Drake are like punching each other while their symbiotes are like kind of ripping apart. Like all
there
that's
is a lot
on.
going on.
But that's kind of cool
but
though.
It's still cool. Yeah.
Because Eddie or Drake couldn't do anything outside of that symbiote, so he's like happy that he's inside Riot.
Yeah, they're like punching
really,
each other. All that stuff's flying.
And to be honest, I know the symbiotes. Their weaknesses are the sounds of like screeching sounds or fire, which is why you thought Venom died. But I don't think it's 100% confirmed that Riot's even dead. Like Drake's definitely dead, but Riot's symbiote could have went to the ocean if they wanted to.
Oh, they could easily. They could, but I don't think they'll want to. But there's the scene where he's eating in the. I love how it's like he's kind of losing. He's losing his mind because he's not really accepting. He doesn't want to accept that he's hearing it. Like the bad guy, it made sense that he was perfectly normal because he was bad, so he just wanted to accept it. Yeah. But like Eddie didn't want to listen to it. He didn't want to be like bad, so that's why.
And there's a lot of really cool elements to think about that. Like they're working together. The scenes where like he's talking to people, and then you hear him in his head like saying what to say, and all that was really cool because he's like, it's maybe the last time you get a chance to say something to her, and he thinks about it, he's like, oh, that's probably true, and he like says it out loud. Well, and then you want to say the disgusting scene? I don't think we even said it yet.
Well, yeah, obviously there's a scene where he like it's minor, but he's eating stuff and it is
out of the trash can.
But yeah, he starts eating everything. His Venom just eats everything. I thought it was really cool that like he was just like eating everything because Venom is inside him, and then he
throws up, which is like really real, which is disgusting.
Yeah, I almost got sick.
But luckily I didn't buy the cookies today.
But the food scene, he goes into a restaurant and he's like not really.
Yeah, he gets into the lobster like.
Yeah, but he's like eating people's food and throwing it. He eats it and says like, well, he's parts of Venom is coming out when he's saying it. But then he gets into the lobster, like literally the lobster water where there's live lobsters and eats it and. I knew right when you saw those lobsters, like, he's eventually going to eat it.
Yeah, and then the whole joke with, like, calling him a parasite and stuff, he doesn't like that.
Yeah.
But I would love to see more movies in this universe.
I really want to see Spider-Man. I really want to see Spider-Man
It's probably
go
going to
be
it's probably Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. It's not going to be
I really hope there's some way they can cross that over. That would be awesome. I understand why they want to keep it separate because if you have Spider-Man, that means you have everyone else. So, but I really wish there was a way to get the Tom Holland Spider-Man to fight this Venom. That'd be awesome.
It's definitely more realistic to have this Venom get crossed over to the MCU than DC, obviously.
But yeah, even though, I mean, it would be awesome to see any characters cross over with this, but you see Venom walk up to Eddie in the forest, and it kind of sounds like a girl, and well, the way that Venom is like shaped is pretty feminine. But, and then, like, he ends up kissing, Venom ends up kissing him, but it's the girl, so it's normal, but he was making out with Venom for a second, so it was weird.
I also like seeing how Venom could, like, talk to him with his face off his arm, which was cool.
That was really cool CGI, and I really, like, it was so, like, cool to look at with the faces talking to each other.
It's really, I'd love to see what that planet is that they came from, like, what kind of world they have out there.
So when they started, they were coming back from another planet?
Yeah.
Were they on Mars or something? Because it looked like they were...
I don't know if they said what planet they were on, but they were coming from somewhere, and they were going back. That's why that ship they were on. And then I like that line because I was thinking there was a line early on when everyone was going. He gets fired. His boss says, "Have a good life." His girlfriend dumps him. His wife dumps him, and then says, "Have a good life." I thought they were gonna say that's why Venom at the end says to Riot, "Have a good life," and then like shreds the entire rocket. I thought that was also another kind of a letdown. Is Venom didn't really beat Riot. Because Riot really beat him. I mean, obviously Riot was more powerful, but that's usually what superheroes usually beat the more powerful villain anyway most of the time. So Venom really did not fight Riot very well, but it is the first. But it makes sense because he's not. I mean, it's his first time.
Riot has all this like freaking weaponry and stuff, and Venom he's got to take some upgrades or something. He was not. He was the loser. He did not have the right equipment.
Venom he can make shields and stuff to like block things.
That's where they can go so many different routes. They can learn to make things because that freaking Riot. I really like the design. I love the design of these things. They look awesome, but he had like the spike ball, and then he had
and the big like swords and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, and then there was also that we didn't talk about. It's really quick.
He bites someone's
Riot
head off.
the whole time. Riot is that one you see in the beginning where he's in some like Asian girl and some old lady Asian girl, and then goes
some little girl
into a little girl. I knew for a second when I saw the little girl, I'm like, he's about to go in that. And then there's even a dog that's using this. I was hoping.
I know a dog.
I was hoping when instead of obviously the girl comes in and saves him in the woods, he's about to be killed. I like that joke. He's just gonna walk me to death, and then but I was hoping the dog would walk up to him and be like, "What is this dog?" And all of a sudden, Venom like forms off the dog.
And I was hoping the dog would like fly out. Or,
but
like,
it was the
run
girl,
across.
because you do see the dog in the hospital looking at the girl, and they just went from there to there.
I mean, like the scene where he picks up the guy, and he says, "We are Venom." Well, in the trailer, he says that. He says like eyes, lungs. He's like describing that, but he doesn't eat that guy. But then he bites the head off of someone else, so he does eat.
And I liked what they did there. Venom was like saying at first, he's like, if you do any, you're not going to mistreat anyone in this town. But then he's at the last night, like, second thought, I'm just going to eat you right now.
Yeah, no,
so he's saying good
that was
things.
probably Eddie coming out there and saying that.
Yeah.
But then at the end, though, you really do. It feels like it's both. Of them.
It's
really
just cool to see them working together, like that element. Like when he wants to, like he says, form into this, and he's huge and he can take out anyone that he wants.
Yeah, and at the end,
his
how
neighbor, he said, turn the music down. He's like,
Yeah,
I'll do it right now.
And I do like how at the end they compromise, because he said it's like Venom wants to eat people, but Eddie wants to be a good person.
He's actually listening to him.
He's like, okay, let's have a compromise, 50-50. You can eat bad people, and then so they both get what they want. A bad person can die.
It'd be fun to hear conversations and just talking and stuff.
Anyways, he's just they were just walking down the street at the end. He was just like, what do you want to do next?
Yeah. And we can do whatever we want, which is really cool. Which that's where the problems come in, because Venom probably wants to do a lot of bad things, and he could override him when he wants to. So
yeah, and maybe that's where they get Spider-Man into it, because Eddie just finally turns evil with that. It gets to his head, and someone has to fight him.
And, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Guys, you do not want to do this, trust me.